Hey everybody, dutchsinse here. 1:37 a.m. Central Time on Thursday, April 30th, 2015. And I've got you over here on College of DuPage, and we're looking at the 1 kilometer visible satellite view over Oregon. And I'm going to go ahead and turn off the roads and rivers and the counties just so you can get an idea of what we're looking at here. Okay, here's the entire state of Oregon. And I'm going to go ahead and play through the last animation of the last 48 images, which will show us the whole day of activity on visible satellite here. And you're going to see a bunch of clouds go by, and then it'll fade out to sunset, of course. And that's going pretty quick, so let me just bring it forward frame by frame. And you can watch this first, okay? Watch it. And we'll watch it through again as I click it through. Okay. Okay, so we've got a fair amount of regular cloud activity. Now, what I want to show you is phenomenal, guys. This is big news, and I hope you guys get it out to the appropriate people on the West Coast. Let them know this is going on in their neck of the woods right now, and the media is not reporting on it. First, I think you guys should be made aware that there's been some very strange volcanic activity happening along the West Coast over the last week and a half. We've seen a series of dormant volcanoes show multiple earthquakes, and I'll put screenshots on the screen right now of the past few that have happened over the past few days, and a strange plume event, steam plume event, that even the National Weather Service was looking at, that it happened from a dormant butte in Nevada 2 days ago. And then that was followed by dormant volcano movement in California. Now, with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on an area that's not regular cloud formation, guaranteed 100%. And let me just zoom in on this. Okay, you see this is a county line here, and I want to draw your attention to this area right here. Now I'm going to bring this back a few, and you're going to see this bounce around. That's the weather satellite. They're replacing the weather satellite eventually here, but right now the satellite is bouncing around a little bit. That's due to maneuvers they do with the satellite. So it'll appear this plume that you're seeing here on the screen is bouncing around there with the rest of the clouds. Those clouds are not bouncing around. That's the satellite moving. But you can still see it right here. Something is puffing off a couple times. You see that? And then right towards sunset, right there. And let me go ahead and zoom in a little bit more. And we'll bring this back through the day. Okay, as the other clouds are going by, it's pretty obvious that this is a stationary plume of some kind, and it goes for a little bit and then puffs off one more time right at sunset. So, you can see where that's happening from right here. Let me back this up a little bit more. Okay, so here we go. And here's our county line, so this gives us a pretty good bearing, and to get a really good bearing, we've got our roads and our rivers. So blue is river, the orangish peach color is road. So here's our county line. We can go right down from the county line to somewhere right in here, in between this jut in the county line and the road and river. So let's go ahead and zoom in on Oregon. Find the county in question. Okay, here it is. This is Bend, Oregon. And we'll zoom in. And we're talking about, here's that jut in the county line, and so somewhere right in between. And look what we have right here. Look at this. Old lava flows. And let me just go ahead and turn on the gallery so we can see what the USGS has marked here. Yeah, okay. This is Newberry Crater, of course. Oh, of course, Newberry Crater. And this would be Bachelor, Mount Bachelor, and these are old lavic flows. And if there's any doubt about it, let me just go ahead and zoom in on this and show you guys what's here. If you ever get a chance to go up through Oregon, it's absolutely beautiful. But, you know, here's a volcano right there. Lava Butte. And let's zoom in and get a good look at these, so you can understand that these old flows aren't so old, especially when you consider this is the Pacific Northwest with a lot of trees, a lot of moisture and precipitation. And, you know, this might not even be just a few 100-year-old flow happening at that location. So, oh, there's another one right there. Look at this. Yeah, no doubt about it. Okay, well, I didn't know that's what's at the location. I'm glad I'm recording the video live right now. That's where the plume is coming from. So, okay, here's our road. Here's our jut out in the county line. And it's happening somewhere right in here. All right, let's zoom back in. Take a look and see what we got going on here. Ah, got another volcano right there. Right there. Directly at the spot. There it is. Unnamed. No name on that one. Just up here in the background. Look at how many there are. Look at all these. Wow. Okay, each one of these. It's covered by trees. They might not even have them all marked. Look at that. No doubt about that. Look at that. Wow. So we've got a steam plume, and this goes all the way up, each one of these. I'll be dang. Look at that. Well, that's sending off a steam plume, and this is in light of the other activity that's happened over the past several days. I'm not shocked, really, but I mean, I think my viewers might be shocked a little bit. I think if you live in Oregon, you might be shocked a little bit, and you might be shocked that the news isn't going to tell you that that's happening. And then it's going to take somebody on YouTube to come in and zoom in on the area, see what's there. Again, let's go back over to the satellite feed. And we'll zoom in. We'll just leave that play real time here. Slow it down just a little bit. Turn on the counties. Turn on the roads and rivers. And zoom in. There you go. You can really see it. I mean, it's undeniable. I mean, it really is happening from right there, and those are certainly old dormant volcanoes, many of which are unnamed and not marked as volcanoes, even though they obviously should be. Again, let's match that up. Maybe we need to go a little bit further south along that. Wow. Well, I guess it pays to look these things up, right? I mean, nobody else is going to. I mean, nobody else is sitting there analyzing the visual satellite feed and then matching it up to what's on Google Earth and saying, hey, why is a plume coming from a volcano there? And why has it already happened 3 other times this week? Why was the National Weather Service looking at the one in the Nevada desert just a day ago? Why were they zapping the plumes that were coming up out of the ground? Why were they looking at those? Obviously, they were interested. No one's telling you guys, because what we're looking at here is the buildup before a large earthquake. Okay, there's no shock here. Look, here, I'll show you on Earthquake 3D. Right now, these earthquakes, over the last 24 hours, this is what we're looking at, 2.5 and greater. You can see 3.5, 3.0, 2.9, all struck at the same place, Inyo craters, right at the Long Valley caldera, no doubt about it, by Mammoth Mountain, right at the foot of Crater Mountain. And the other 2.9 striking at Red Mountain Volcano. So all these earthquakes right here at dormant volcanoes. And then all of these earthquakes at the fracking operations, which are deep water wells. By the way, the steam plume locations that kicked off, the one that was in Nevada that the National Weather Service was looking at, was from Cold Springs, Nevada. And the plume that happened down here in Southern California happened from Desert Hot Springs, California. The earthquakes here also, ironically, the town nearby is a Springs location, and it's called Whitmore Hot Springs. So Hot Springs, plume down to the south, earthquakes at Hot Springs, plume at the Cold Springs in Nevada, and now, again, this plume off event that's happening here. And again, what's the nearby town? Three Rivers, Sun River. Do we have any other towns nearby? No, and then our nearest large volcanoes, of course, is Bachelor Peak, or Mount Bachelor. And that's undeniable volcanic location that feeds more of the entire area. And it's part of a chain. It goes all the way through here. But to see steam coming out of there, what that means is that there's greater pressure going on underneath. And we're not surprised by that because the other volcanic activity that's happening out here in the central Pacific, This swarm of earthquakes and the excessive rise of lava at Kilauea and over here in Indonesia, where a new fissure, a new split in the side of a volcano there is being ignored by the media as well. And that's Mount Sinabung, I believe. So when we see this deep movement that's been happening around the planet, let me just show you guys. Look at this. This is the last 7 days of earthquakes, 2.5 and greater in the U.S., 4.0 and greater internationally. And this includes the massive swarm of earthquakes that is still occurring in Nepal. Multiple 6.0 follow-up earthquakes. I mean, that's a lot of activity you see. Look at all that, guys. And let me just go ahead and show you the 5.0 and greater, just to give you an idea of the bigger earthquakes that have happened. I mean, really, look at that. So, we had the West Coast movement at the start of this week, and the follow-up movement that's translated across the North American craton over the last 7 days. We even saw that earthquake happen up here on the East Coast, just like we were expecting, guys. Anytime the displacement happens to the west, it pushes down to the south and then back up to the east, like I told you guys before. And it happened again, and that produced the small earthquake activity on the East Coast that we were expecting. Also, Colorado moved at the fracking operation here. Stack of earthquakes here comparable to the West Coast here in Oklahoma. And that resulted in multiple 4.0 and greater earthquakes over the last 7 days. 2 4.2s, several downgraded to the mid-3s, but they started out as 4. And then, of course, the dormant volcanoes in California showing activity. Swarm in Hawaii, again, associated with the lava flow, and things now picking back up down here to the south with a deep asthenosphere earthquake and shallow movement in Chile again, which means we're probably looking at another eruption down here to the south once again. And, of course, Central America, well, you're trying to compensate for all the other activity going on, and United States over the last 48 hours. Look, I mean, really, we are primed and ready in the U.S., and we're still got another full day to go before I have to do another earthquake forecast. And so we're still got, well, actually almost 2 days more to go before the earthquake forecast expires. Once that expires, I'll do another update, but I've been keeping you guys abreast of the situation. Every area that we've watched and named so far has been hit. We saw the movement hit Japan. Look, I mean, look what happened here in Japan, guys. A 4.5 struck directly at the spot that experienced that land collapse and sudden land rise, 50 feet of land rise. Earthquake struck directly at the spot within a few miles. And then 2 follow-up 5.0 earthquakes struck right in the areas we were watching near Okinawa and off the coast of northern Japan. Luckily, they got off with that 5.0 activity, and that's good. We still have a full day and a half left to go in the earthquake forecast, so don't take your eyes off Japan or the area near Vietnam. I would like to note, professionals have now come out and said we need to expect 30 to 50 feet worth of movement still additional to happen in Nepal, resulting in another large earthquake they're saying is going to happen soon. 33 to 50 feet. Now, where did we hear 33 to 50 feet of movement recently? Where did we hear it? We heard 33 to 50 feet named as the rise in North Japan where this 4.5 occurred. So 33 to 50 feet, rise here, or collapse, whatever you want to call it, and then scientists come out 2 days later and say, oh, there's going to be 33 to 50 feet worth of movement here. Now, I've been telling you guys for a long time, and now I think they're starting to get wise to this, that the earthquakes, when they do transfer, they transfer west through Asia. And so when you see movement here, it translates to movement here, and vice versa. However, we're looking at deep earthquakes happening in the asthenosphere. Yet, once again, look at that. This is just the last 24 to 48 hours. Let's make it a full 48. There we go. The area stands out. Okay, you can see all 3 deep earthquakes raised high off the globe. That lets you know the entire Pacific plate has movement happening deep down below in the asthenosphere. And they've found that the deep movement displaces the area above. Makes sense, right? And that then causes shallow earthquakes in other areas that wouldn't normally see activity. So the whole Pacific plate is being displaced from underneath. And what's that causing? It's causing a new fissure to form here, or possibly a new eruption, to happen at Mount Sinabung over here to the west. And it's causing right at the center of the plate lava to rise exponentially higher through Kilauea, pressure from deep below pushing the magma up. And it's resulted in a mystery, unexpected eruption down here at a volcano that hadn't erupted in 40 years down here in Chile. That was Calbuco Volcano. And now dormant volcano activity, and now steam plume activity, again from pressure deep below coming up, and that's showing along the west coast. Now, what can I tell you about having an earthquake plan ready? Guys, now is the time. Be prepared just in case. Hey everybody, dutchsinse here. 8:55 p.m. Central Time on Thursday, April 30th, 2015. This is part 2 of the video. I didn't get a chance to put out this video this morning that you just watched the first half of. And I've got you back here. We're looking at the satellite feed again for Oregon. And I want to draw your attention to something that's going on here today, now 14 hours later, in an entirely different area. Now, I recorded my video last night at like 2 in the morning. That was from yesterday afternoon. So today, starting at sunrise, there was no plume down here to the south. Let me go ahead and zoom in on the area so you can get a good idea of what we're talking about here. Okay, we're talking about this county here with the stair step that we were just looking at the start of this video. And the plume was down here. Let's go ahead and turn on the road so you can get a really good idea as you just watched. Okay, so the plume was down here yesterday. Notice there's nothing here today. Okay, so it's not like that's some kind of fire out there or something. Now, look what's going on right up here, where just north of the road, where the road crosses over the border. Let me turn off the roads now, and we'll bring it forward frame by frame. Okay, so about going into the morning, you see that right there? Let's go ahead and back this up. Right here, along the border, bring it forward, gives off a steam plume. Okay, now let's go over to Google Earth. Let's open up Google Earth and take a look what's there. While that's loading, let me show you the news that broke today. An undersea volcano just started erupting off the shores of Oregon. Okay, and it's on the axial seamount, about 300 miles off the coast. This is the area that I've been talking about now for the last 2 years, where back in 2011, the area ruptured and buried USGS sensors. That was right before the Japan megaquake. So now we're seeing a repeat of this as well, and I want to thank my viewer, Nicole C., and several other people for reporting this to me. It's just huge news. So, okay, so here, let's zoom in back on the area. Again, we were already looking at this earlier, so you already know the area in question. We'll let this load. And you know what? Let me just go ahead and turn off the whole gallery here. We'll just turn on the volcanoes and the Google Earth community. There we go, volcanoes. And zoom in on the area. Okay, so here's our previous area, and this was the spot that we just looked at, and now the area just north of the highway, right where the highway crosses the border, is this Black Butte. No doubt about it, this is an old dormant butte volcano, and look at it. Okay, so there's Black Butte. Now let's come back over and take a look at the College of DuPage NextRad, or at the College of DuPage visible feed, and you can see, and it's actually easier to see from further away. You can see the disturbance of the plume activity coming from that location. And again, the area to the south is not. Now, off to the west is where we're talking about this new volcanic undersea eruption is occurring. So due west. Okay, right out here, and we'll just back this out some more. So we're talking about the new volcanic ridge, about 300 miles off the coast of Oregon. Let's get that 300 miles so we know exactly. Okay, oh, we don't want feet. Let's go ahead and get it in miles. There we go, 300 miles. So, new eruption out here, and due east on land, plume activity. Just thought I'd show that to you guys. What a follow-up story today is. I mean, really. So for me to record that video this morning, you know, and then to have this news break today, they are related, 100%. So the plume activity that we saw over the past couple days is a sign of the volcanic activity that's happening out to sea, which itself is a sign of the earthquake activity taking place internationally and showing up as multiple large earthquakes over the last 7 days. Again, take a look at it, guys. We had the 6.2 up here just north of Juan de Fuca, and then the 5.5 that struck, it's not on the map here anymore, right off the coast of California on the Gorda Escarpment volcanic ridge south of Juan de Fuca. Now, right in between the two areas, they have an announcement of an eruption that's happening right there, directly between where the earthquake happened here and the earthquake here, right there. And then plumes here and going down the west coast, and a series of earthquakes at dormant volcanoes down the west coast. Put it all together yourself, guys. There's not going to be anybody, any professional who comes out and connects these dots. They'd have to be sitting here reporting on it all day long like I am. There's nobody else doing it. Really, there's no other single person on the planet sitting here all day long, monitoring earthquakes and volcanoes, connecting the dots, trying to figure out where the next thing's going to happen, and reporting on it as it's happening. There's teams of people on these other media sites that are doing this. No one really keeping track. No one keeping track between this earthquake, and the area right in between, and saying, connection between the steam plumes that everybody was denying. They said it was forest fires, military bombs, thunderstorms, every explanation in the book for it, except for the volcanic activity that's clearly now being reported as happening in the same location. And just to give you guys, you might say, oh, you may have known about this beforehand, Dutch. No, this was just announced. Look, Thursday, April 30th. Breaking news. Scientists believe the axial seamount volcano 300 miles off Washington, Oregon is erupting. Two scientists said it would take place there in 2015. Really, guys? Okay, sure, all right. Much love. Be safe. Always have an earthquake plan ready and be prepared just in case.